Welcome back, everyone. I'm T.
And I'm Nessa.
Together we are the Casual Fangirls. Of course, we're back to chat about the latest episode of HBO's House of the Dragon. But before we get started, I have a question, as I always do, Nessa.
Yes.
How would you feel if your ex got drunk, wedding crashed your wedding, and killed one of your guests?
I'd be pissed. I might secretly love the drama though, but I'd be upset. I'd be like, yeah, I did that to him. That's why he crazy. But I'd be upset.
That is an interesting take on it.
Are you calling the cops? Are you calling the police?
I'm not calling the police because I feel like at my wedding, if a fight broke out, that would be a sign of a good wedding, I think.
Oh my gosh.
In any event, having someone die at their wedding did not seem to bother Rhaenyra in this episode. So that gets to our to the main point of this week's episode. We light the way. Before we dive in, Nessa, what did you think of the episode?
When I watched it, all I kept thinking was chaos and power play. Chaos, power play. Chaos, power play. There was a lot of wildness going on. A lot of people doing stuff just to stir the pot, get things going, create some chaos. We know that chaos is a ladder. So
Chaos is a ladder.
Doing all that stuff just to get things going. But there were also players who were putting themselves in position of power or positions to take a stand, to show what they're made of and what they got going on, or at least like making some sort of appeal to someone to be like, hey, this is an opportunity. This is an option. What do you think? And so that's all the things that kept running through my mind as I'm watching this episode. But great episode. A lot of stuff went down. We're going to get into it. But T, how did you feel about the episode?
I just thought it was a hot mess. You know, like not in the sense that it was a poorly written episode or poorly acted or anything along those lines. The plot, exactly what you said, chaos and climbing and all of that. I interpreted that as just everyone being a hot mess. It was all over the place. There were so many things happening, so many revelations, so many sad parts we'll get to in a second. Like, it was just, again, Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon now has the ability to keep my emotions on 10 for that for the whole 60 minutes that I'm in the episode. And this episode absolutely did that for me.
100%.
Yeah. So without further ado, before we jump into the actual plot points and begin discussing all the hot mess, Nessa, would you like to give everyone a spoiler warning?
Absolutely. So guys, this is the point of the episode where we give the spoiler warning. So if you have not watched Game of Thrones, if you have not watched House of the Dragon, I mean, you can stick around. It's a free country. But if you don't want any of the plot points spoiled for you, I would suggest at least go watch this episode and then come back and join us for our discussion, because we are going to dig deep, talk about the plot points, how the story unfolded, what we thought about it, and break down different themes and all of that good stuff. So make your decision. Let's give you a few seconds. Okay, seconds are over. So T, I am going to have you kick us off into the episode. Break it down for us.
So let's get into the episode of House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 5. We are now halfway through the season. We light the way. So episode begins with Lady Rhea of the Vale on a solo hunt. This is our first time seeing her. Along the way, she runs into Daemon, her husband, who she's shocked to see. Like, what are you doing here? We get insight into their dynamic. They actively dislike each other, as she's confrontational and he's, well, him. So we know probably exactly why she don't like him. She realizes he may be there to kill her, and while making a sudden movement, causes her horse to rear on its hind legs and fall on top of her, paralyzing her instantly. Daemon goes to leave her there to die when she provokes him one last time, so he finishes her off by bashing in her skull with a rock. Let's stop there.
The first time he finishes.
Oh, ooh. Shots fired. We just got started. Are you even drinking wine?
Bop, bop. Nope, it's water tonight. Bop, bop.
Shots fired. Jeez. I mean, listen. she called him out. I mean, so back up just a little bit. She
Yeah.
falls off her horse and well, they're talking or whatever. And she's like calling him out about like not being a man and like not having the throne. And she's like, okay, like, what are you going to do next? And it's like, as soon as she said that, she realized that like, he might be there to kill her.
Yeah.
And it's very unclear whether Damon is actually there for that reason. I think it's pretty ambiguous. But Damon is not going to pass up on an opportunity. That's just not who Uncle Damon is at this point in time. So when she causes her own paralysis, he was about to be like, cool, I ain't have to do nothing. I just showed up, turn around and leave. Yeah. And what did she say? I knew you couldn't finish, Craven.
And that was it. That was it. My boy saw red and he said, all right, cool. But I kind of agree with you. I think they've been playing with this all season in terms of like the major things that Damon does seem very ambiguous. A lot of times he's not even talking when these things are happening. So it's like you don't really know what he's thinking. So it's like maybe he came there because like at first when he pulled up, I was like, and they were having that exchange and there was that pause. I was like, wait, is he there to put babies in her now? And then when she started looking scared, I was like, no, he's there to hurt her. I was like, okay. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he would have been fine with her just being paralyzed. It would have just ran with like, well, I guess we can't be married anymore because she can't have no babies, kind of thing. But man, she had to get that one last dig in and it hurt. It hurt.
That part I'm sure hurt. I mean, she was paralyzed from the neck down, but like, can she still, I don't know. Anyways, she's gone. And the other thing that came out of that exchange that we have to talk about, they never consummated their marriage. What do you make of that? That's wild.
I mean, it's wild, but it fits because so Damon been running around the realm talking about she's ugly, she this, she that. I'd rather smash the sheeps in the veil than her and all this stuff. And it's funny because then when she comes along and you meet her, you're like, oh, she is nothing like he described, which is funny to me. And it's kind of like, I feel like a play on the whole show. And even like how the show is adapting from the books where it's like, you're getting all these narratives and you don't know what's the real truth. And it kind of feels more like she didn't like him. And maybe because she didn't like him, he couldn't get it popping. So that's why it didn't really work out. So it didn't surprise me. His impotence didn't surprise me. All it did was confirm, I think, what we were thinking this whole time is that he has issues down there.
So do we think they tried once and then he couldn't finish? Okay.
I think they tried.
Okay.
I think they tried a couple times.
Okay.
I'm sure they did. What was your read on it?
My read was he just wasn't attracted to her, and so he never even tried to come at her. And instead resulted to like insults that like, oh, you're ugly and all this other stuff. But she doesn't seem like a stupid woman, so she can still make that deduction that like he just probably has an issue of some sort. I like your theory better though, that they actually tried and like he couldn't perform and she's been calling him out on it ever since, like for years. And it makes sense why he's never there. Right? She was like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, like I don't think it was a love match by any means, or I don't think he's that interested in her, but like he still could have smashed to get in the air. I think it's because she don't mess with him at all on any type of level that just, it didn't work for him.
Yeah. The other thing about it too, like my first thought was it was giving me Jamie, like I'm super selective of who I sleep with, even though I can have whoever I want vibes. But I like your theory better about him trying but not being able to get it up.
Yeah,
and
I don't think it's that he's selective. I just think he couldn't do it. Can't it?
The other thing too is she gave me Lyanna Stark vibes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Lyanna, Arya, all those kind of like rebellious, strong women that we've seen come across the screen.
Capable, not afraid to say what's on her mind. Yep.
Yeah.
Wearing armor. She had on like armor like made for her, which was kind of cool. Not as pretty as Brienne's, but what they can do in the veil. Anyways, let's keep it pushing.
Yes.
So then we see Alicent back in King's Landing. We see Alicent going to see her father off, who, as you may recall, got fired in the last episode. She defends Rhaenyra to her father, and he blames her, Alicent, for his termination. He reinforces that the only way out of this mess is if the king doesn't name Aegon his heir, is death, either through war and or Rhaenyra killing Alicent's children to secure her claim. He urges Alicent to prepare baby Aegon to rule. Separately, we see Lord Larys Strong, that frickin' creeper, creeping around the Godswood when Alicent's there. He speaks of his support of the High Towers and brings up the rumor of Rhaenyra's virtue. So let's start with Otto and Alicent. I thought that was a really potent scene. He was being super blunt, super direct, and it really infuriated me because I felt like something that we don't talk about with the Game of Thrones like stories in general or Westeros is the fact that we have all these political players, we have all these people going for the throne, and not one of them are properly teaching their children how to play the game. Because when he came to her and was just like X, Y, and Z, like this is the formula, this is this is that, it's like, why did it take you 3 years for you to say that to her? You could have said that when she was pregnant. You could have said that before you tried to pimp her out.
I didn't take it as that. I just feel like we haven't been seeing it, but I feel like he's been like coaching her and pushing her to be like, make Aegon heir. Like, just like he's kind of whispering to the king and stuff like that. I feel like he's been whispering to her as well. I just think it hasn't been coming on screen is what it is. Like, I don't think he just sat there and didn't say that doesn't feel like Otto to me, that he would just sit there and not say anything for these past 3 years. Like, I definitely think he was putting like bugs in her ear, like to be like, hey, you should bring
but he needed to slap her like he did metaphorically in this scene. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
it should have been more direct.
It should have been like, listen, you don't understand. If in order for Rhaenyra to remain queen and ruler, your kids have to die. I don't understand why it took him that long to say that.
Gotcha.
Because as soon as he said that, the look on Alicent's face was like, oh, snap, you're right. Like, I need to think about
possibility.
This. That's a possibility, right?
I think also maybe too, because he felt like, well, I'm in King's Landing, so I can protect my daughter. But now that he's getting the boot, I think he's truly afraid for her. Like, not only is it like, I'm trying to put my family in a certain position, but I think he's actually really afraid for his daughter, because she already says, like, I don't have any friends. But at least she had her dad there. Now she doesn't even have him. So it's like, who's really looking out for Alicent here at the end of the day? Like, nobody's really on her side in that kind of way. So I think it's all coming out of fear at this point. It's like, girl, I don't think you get this.
Right. I don't think you understand at all. Lord Larys, he's giving me like creepy Thin Men vibes. Like, he is an obvious, like, he feels the most Littlefinger-esque out of anyone that we've met so far.
Yeah.
Because he is so obvious with his intentions to sow discord and to try to get information. He's not slick with it at all. I feel like the fact that Alicent caught it, not that she's silly or stupid, but when it comes to the people actively playing the Game of Thrones, Alicent is not an active player. She's a pawn, and she knows it, right?
Yeah.
So for Alicent to pick up on Lord Larys, obviously trying to like gain information or sow discord or something, I felt like Lord Larys is like an amateur in this, and he thinks that he's not.
I did not take it that way. I think he plays his position pretty well. Even in the previous episode when they were on the hunt, and he was like, oh, my foot, let me just sit here with you ladies because I can't go on the hunt. And he's like listening to all the convos.
That was obvious.
Even though like his efforts were so overt in like this scene, sometimes you gotta put it out there, like, because I feel like if he had been subtle with it, it would not have, just like you said, Otto needed to metaphorically slap Alicent and be like, hey, yo, she gonna try and kill your babies. I think someone needed to overtly slap her and be like, oh, well, she had some tea last night and I don't know, is she ill? Oh, that, you know what I mean? So I think like she needed that to put two and two together to be like, wait a minute, Damon was here. There's rumors. Tea late at night from the
She didn't
Grand
know.
Maester, right?
Yeah.
From the Grand Maester. I think that's the
Right.
most important part, right? That Melos himself will get out of his bed to bring her something. That means that it's got to be of grave importance. So
Right.
I think he played it well, honestly. But my thought was, what is his end game? Like,
Right.
what was his goal? That's the thing that I think was bothering me throughout the scene, was just like, because for me, I felt like I understood Littlefinger wanted to cause chaos, but it's because he wanted to rise the ranks and do certain things. Like, I got that. But for like Laris, I don't know what his motivation is. So I don't
I have an
understand
option.
what he's getting out of that.
It would make sense to me for him to just try to get into the queen's good graces, to have like an ally in her. If by him coming to her, he's demonstrated to her that he's well connected and he has people that talks, like he knows stuff that's happening. He was able to inform her of something that she didn't know. And I think that that's like part of the game is like, well, let me try to get into her good graces so that, I don't know, she's going to be raising the next king. Maybe he needs a hand or something like that. I don't know. I think he's playing the long game here with
Possibly.
Alicent and particularly Aegon later on.
Now it's making me wonder if he's the second son. And so maybe if he doesn't stand to
Ooh.
inherit anything, he's like, this is a way to secure my future. Like you said, if he
Well,
becomes an ally and becomes close in her court, that could be a way for him to like secure something.
doesn't Lionel have two sons?
He does.
And the other one,
I forget his name, but he's like supposed to be the strongest dude in the
right,
realm.
right. He probably is the second son, now that you think about it. He probably is.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, second son's gotta climb somehow, right? So
Yeah.
this could be
He
it.
probably is, because also when, what's his name? When Lionel approaches him, approaches Viserys is like, "Oh, don't tell
Oh,
me
let
you're
me
going to try
guess.
to marry, your son to me." And he mentions the son who's supposed to be the strongest son. So
That was
it
probably the
might
first son. That's why I was like, oh, this one might be the second one. Yeah. Because
exactly.
he's not going to presume that Lionel will offer up a second son or third son to Viserys. So you're absolutely right. He's interested in plots and schemes so he can climb the ladder in some way, shape, or form. The other thing about this scene that resonated with me is that people know about the rumor outside of the royal family. So people are talking. If he knows, other people know. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm just wondering, like, how many people know?
Listen, at that point, if you know, all the people who work in the castle, at least, like in the Red Keep, to start.
Indeed.
To start.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else about Lord Laris or Alicent?
No, that was it. This is an eye-opening moment for her. I'll say that it's an eye-opening moment for her. I think it's the moment when she starting to realize, like, maybe we're really not friends. Maybe we're really not rebuilding this friendship. Could she still be lying to me? Just even that possibility of deceit, I think, is starting to brew within her.
And I think she's also realizing that she needs her own sources of information. And we'll get to that later on in the episode where she actually tries to go directly to a source to get
That's
information because she doesn't
true.
trust Rhaenyra. But let's first kick it to King Viserys and Princess Rhaenyra, who's with Lionel Strong in tow. They go to Driftmark, the home of Lord Corlys, to propose marriage between their houses. After a confusingly underwhelming welcome from the Valerians, Corlys and Rhaenys greet the king in a way that assures they're still loyal to him. When Viserys offers Rhaenyra's hand to Laenor, Corlys has follow-up questions, like, will the crown then pass to his grandchildren as Valerians? Viserys agreed the children will have Valerian last names, as the custom in Westeros to take the father's last name. But anyone who sits on that throne will bear the last name Targaryen. Don't try it.
Yeah.
Do we think this is a good compromise?
I think it depicts how weak Viserys has become.
Mm.
Because to sit there and look at the king and try to make these requests
He tried it.
shows to me, because even after the whole conversation, Corlys looks at Rhaenys and is like, did I do
overstep?
too much? Yeah, like, did I overstep? Am I doing the most? And the fact that he's even asking that shows that any other king would have been like, forget you, forget that. The fact that Viserys even had to go to Corlys is an issue. Like, you are the king. This is the princess, the queen to be. Like, they supposed to come to you. It's not you supposed to go to them. And then you step onto his land and he's not there to greet you at the door. He is not there to greet you at the door, but when you walk in, he's sitting on his own throne, chilling, right? And so, and this is what I meant by like power plays, right? Corlys is like, I'm not going to greet this dude at my door. I'm going to wait for him to come in and he's going to see me sitting on my own throne. I'm not going to him. He got to come to me, right? So, I just think that the fact that this compromise was even entertained shows how much Viserys is declining.
I would agree. I think Viserys knows it. I think we see him throughout the episode just come to terms a little bit more and more with his condition and where he's at in life. I mean, your point about making a show of it all. Viserys makes the comment. He's like, I spent all my time in the Red Keep, but your hall is like dope. Like,
yeah. This is nice.
This is nice. Y'all ain't got no roaches or nothing. Nice. Commenting on the grandeur of it all. And, I think it just feeds right into your point that, Viserys is not, he's definitely sinking below standards that previous kings and future kings probably wouldn't sing to. They probably would have just married Rhaenyra off a long time ago to somebody else if Corlys wasn't down. They would have sent a raven and been like, "You want in? Yes or no?"
Yeah, exactly. He would not have come
be here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
And speaking of his condition, even when he's on the ship, he's like seasick. He's throwing up. My man's is having a tough time. And let me tell you something. We all know, man, anytime a character gets a cough on a show, it's over. It's over. They gone. So, to be honest, I'm even surprised that he survived this episode. It is a downhill. Anytime there's I'm like, whoop, it's over.
So we'll get to this at the end of us chatting, but like we see the trailer for the next episode, and I'm just like, that's the thing that shocks me the most. That Viserys is in the trailer for the next episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised that he survived this episode.
Listen, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
The other thing I want to call out about this scene that I don't have in the notes is that it was actually kind of really refreshing to see the relationship that Viserys and Rhaenys has. Like, Rhaenys just walks up to him like, hey, cousin, what's up? Like, gives him a hug and everything. She's, like, doting over him, concerned for him. So it was nice to see that. Did you see when she grabbed his hand?
Oh, yeah. She was like, there's nothing here.
Right.
It was like, what?
You're missing a couple of fingers, sir. What is happening here?
It was, yeah. So, I mean, the way I'm seeing it, and that's the thing to me, too, is, like, he's openly and willingly going out in public and letting people see his condition.
I mean, he has to do
I
it
don't
for
think
those
that's
things.
a good move. I don't think that's a good move at all whatsoever.
I mean, how can you hide? He had to go and to Corlys in person in order for if he really wanted that to happen, he had to go in person. He had to be at his daughter's wedding. I wouldn't have made it 7 days. It would have been that one night and that's it, which is actually what wound up happening. And we'll get to there in a second. But I think you're right. Like he definitely has these grand plans and he just does not act as if he understands the people in his life himself or the that he's in. He's pretty delusional. Yes.
I did like seeing the relationship between Rhaenys and Corlys though. I was like, oh yeah, actually love each other. Finally, someone who does and got to be together. And Corlys is just like, no, you got passed over and we gonna make this work. Okay.
Yep.
All right, where are we going to next?
We are going to go to the beach where Rhaenyra and Laenor are taking a stroll,
Mm-hmm.
where they have a cryptic conversation about how they'll handle their marriage. Long story short, Laenor is gay, and Rhaenyra knows, which would make sense. They're cousins. They grew up together. Like,
Do
she
you
knows
like
him.
goose or ducks?
Duck. She suggests that as a married couple, they will do their duty as rulers, but they will have their own separate love lives.
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenys is convinced that Rhaenyra's claim will be challenged, and she's worried they're putting Laenor in danger. We then see Laenor have a tender moment with his paramour, who is delighted they will be able to keep seeing each other. Kinda. We'll get there. So, I mean, what did you think of that reveal that Laenor is gay? And then secondly, Rhaenyra is kind of just like, that's cool. We could do an open relationship. What's up?
It surprised me that it was that well known. Because, yeah, they're cousins, but, like, I don't think they close cousins, or at least not that we know of.
Rhaenys said they grew up together.
Did they? I guess.
I would imagine.
Right.
So when she said it, I stopped and I thought about it, and I was like, if Corlys was handed the king, he was in King's Landing. He's going to be there with his family. Like, we saw Rhaenys was around and their kids were around. They grew up together.
I guess the relationships were just happening off camera, but so I guess it still surprised me how openly known it was amongst everyone, and how everybody was just like, okay. Like, but I thought it was very progressive for them to sit there and be like, I know what you do, you know what I do, we could do what we do, but still perform our duties to the realm. And have children and stuff like that. Now, what I will say is I'm not mad at the potential arrangement, but I feel like it's trickier for Rhaenyra because it's like
your baby got to come out looking a very specific way, which we gonna get to when we get to the trailer at the next week's trailer.
Right. You can't be out here just getting it on willy-nilly. You better hope people pull out game strong. You better have that tea on brew on deck, taking it like a plan B or something.
He better be the Duke of he better be the Duke Simon from Bassett from Bridgerton. I'm talking pull out king.
Yes,
okay?
Pull out king. Because you can't slip up. You know what I'm saying? You can't mess up or everybody is going to know. So that's
and everybody
the part
dies.
Right, and everybody dies. And that's the part that I was worried the most, because he can go do what he wants to do, right? First of all, whatever he's going to do is not going to even bear any children. But if it did, nobody would really care. Now, if the queen is birthing non-Valerian babies, we got a problem. But how did you feel about their conversation? And
I thought it was cute, and it was very much. I thought it was very sweet. I was like, "Oh, look at them, like coming to an understanding. Maybe this marriage won't be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They have an understanding. We so often in Game of Thrones, when women get married, they usually get the short end of the stick in a lot of the weddings that we've seen. Yeah, probably the only one that didn't was Marjorie, honestly, but it took her 3 tries to get it right. Anyways, so she got the short end twice and then got it right, kind of. Yeah. So it just felt like refreshing for me. I was like, oh, Rhaenyra might actually be able to like get everything she wants. She'll be queen or, queen someday. She has a husband that will support her and that's been kind of groomed to support her in this way because his father was ostensibly going to do the same thing for his mom.
Yeah.
It just felt like a really like sweet moment. And then following up to see Laenor with his paramour, with his boyfriend or whatever, and seeing them together. I was like, oh, this is cute. They get to like all go to court together. Maybe they'll make him a Kingsguard so that they both have their Kingsguards around forever. Like I had all these, you know what it did? I fell in love with the potential.
You like, did.
Instantly.
Versus the reality.
Versus the reality. I did.
Fair enough. I think that was the whole goal, right? Is to get everybody's hopes up. Like, oh, this marriage might not be so bad. This could work. Oh my gosh. And
yeah. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So on the ship back to King's Landing, Kristen Cole shoots the shot of all shots
of a lifetime.
He asks, He's crazy. He asks Rhaenyra to run away with him to Essos so they can be married properly. She declines, as her duty is to the throne. She is the crown, is what she says, and he cannot handle it. When they get back, Queen Alicent summons Sir Criston to ask about Rhaenyra's virtue, and Criston confirms Rhaenyra isn't a virgin anymore because he slept with her. Alicent obviously wasn't looking for that information, so he accidentally snitched on himself. He begs the queen to sentence him to a quick death, but Alicent instead lets him go. Having fainted upon his return to King's Landing, Viserys has the maesters in a tizzy, trying to make him healthy again. He speaks with Lionel about his legacy. How will history remember him? Viserys knows he's dying and is questioning a lot. So a lot happened in that book. Yeah. Let's back up a bit. Criston asks Rhaenyra to marry him. And I was cringing through that entire, I was like, what? No, what is you doing?
He said, so you want me to be your whore?
And she's like, yes. What
that part cracked me up. Because I feel like I've never heard a man refer to themselves as a whore before. That kind of way. So the fact that he was literally insulted and was like, yeah, and was like, wait, you want me to be your whore? Cracked me up so bad. I don't blame him. I understand that in his mind, he's like, I have soiled my honor. If we get caught, this could be the end of me. You know, F it. Why not just run away and live happily ever after type of thing, right? And by no means did I ever expect Rhaenyra to be like, okay, cool, sure.
No way.
At all whatsoever.
First of all, she's not leaving her dragon, and she can't take the dragon with her. What was he thinking?
Right. But I think it shows her taking another step into, this is who I am. I am the realm. I am the queen to be. This is my purpose. This is my duty. And again, it's kind of reminding us of the whole, Aegon prophecy, the Song of Ice and Fire. Like, that's definitely got to be playing in the back of her mind, where it's like, I have this information. I can't make this move with you, but you can be my side piece.
Basically.
And he was just like, that don't sound good for me.
But that makes no sense to me. It makes no sense why he would turn down
that opportunity.
The queen's plum. Yes. Like, why would you turn that down? Okay, fine. Yeah, you're risking your life. Yada, yada. You're doing that anyway. You're her king's guard. You're supposed to lay down your life for her. You're going to die eventually, probably for her. You might as well get something out of it if she's willing to give it to you.
I'm weak. This is your take.
That's my take. He's being ridiculous right now.
I mean, it feels very much like Dany with the second son dude.
Fabio, what's his name?
I can't remember his name. But yeah.
It starts with a G. Does it?
I believe it does, but I can't remember.
Jorah. And is it Dario?
It could be. That sounds right.
Did I call him Fabio?
You did.
Dario.
I thought you were talking about his hair, but
I was, which is why his name is actually Dario. I think it's Dario Naharis. Yeah, Dario Naharis.
Okay. Yeah, it feels pretty much like that, where she was like, "Listen, I have to make a match in Marine to solidify a union, to bring some stability, but that don't mean we can't still mess around." But the difference was Dany couldn't have children. So,
and Dario was with it. He was like, "Take me as your whore," and she was like, "No." And he's like, "I don't understand."
Yeah, eventually it changes, but
he's like, "What you mean? So have a husband and have me on the side. It's the best of both worlds."
I can't. But yeah, I mean, so it's funny to me that she made that offer, and then just as soon as Kristen's like, I want to be serious. Like, I want you to take me out in public. I'm not trying to be your sneaky link anymore.
Post me.
No, absolutely
She's
not.
like, post me,
Yeah, I
which
love
is
that.
wild. Because
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it
oh.
yeah, it's all about duty versus love, right?
Mhm.
We keep returning to the same theme over and over again. Like, if are you going to choose your duty? Are you going to choose love? And what does that mean for the choices that you're making? What does it mean for the realm? What does it mean for the people around you?
Mhm.
It's a tough, ask. So be like, run
Yeah,
away.
and it's it also reminded me of Arya and Gendry and their whole dynamic and him wanting her and her being like, no, um,
That ain't me.
that ain't me. And then finally, okay, so two other things. One, Kristen just like he is all over the place, right? He is having an existential crisis right now, clearly. Um, I don't know if Rhaenyra got that Erica Badu in her, where she just like knows how to make a man just like change his life. But he goes as far as to assume that Allison is asking. He thinks that Allison knows that he slept with Rhaenyra. I don't know how he would even think that she knows that, but he doesn't know the thing about Damon and Rhaenyra. It's just a hot mess. He's
Yeah.
on himself, and what an
I'm so
episode.
disappointed in him. I was screaming at the screen. I was just like, shut up and let her finish talking. Like, why are you interrupting her? Like, let her finish her thought, because if she had just finished her thought, you would have realized that she was thinking that Damon was the dude, and you wouldn't have to lie. And all you would have to do was say, I don't know, or I don't think so, or whatever, right? And you could have went about your day and none would have been the wiser, because your name was not even on the board. You didn't put up no points. Nobody's checking for you. Nobody's trying to draft you. Nothing. But here you go, throwing your name into the gambit, talking about, yeah, it was me. Like, bro, nobody asked you. Shut up. I was
And
so
you
upset.
you can tell that he just wants it off his chest. Like it's
It was
torturing
it
him.
was weighing on him so bad. But I was just like,
It's
come
torturing him. But
on.
he's what, and it makes me sad. It's like you're weak. Get it together. You're supposed to be the King's Guard. Get it together. Get all these
Yeah.
feelings all mixed up in this. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So then that,
It's like Jorah falling in love with Danny. Like, you're not supposed to do this.
yeah. So that coupled with the information that she gets from Laris, she's just like, wait, hold on. This person who's supposed to be my best friend, my only friend in King's Landing, has been lying to me. Like, I really have no allies here. She don't trust me. She not rocking with me. I thought we could have brought this back together, and clearly not. And I think that's really the turning point for her, when she's like, ain't nobody here for me. We heard Rhaenyra said that in a previous episode. Nobody's here for me. Nobody's here for Allison.
No, no one is. She's just there to make babies, and that's it.
Nobody give a damn.
But at the same time, I don't blame Rhaenyra for lying to Allison. I would have lied
I
too.
don't either. Yeah.
There's no way.
I didn't say she
There's
was
no way.
wrong.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying. Like Allison, and that's the other thing too. Like Allison feeling entitled to the
Yeah.
truth of that matter just feels off to me as well, because
That's what bothered me too. Because I
I'm
was
just like, why do you think that she should have told you the truth? Like, yes, y'all are friends, but let's be clear, Nessa, you are one of my best friends. If you did something with your body that has nothing to do with me and you lied to me about it, I'm not gonna be like coming dressed in like green because that's the color of red for my family. Like, it's just like, all right, you wanted to protect your secret and you didn't want to tell me because you knew I'd have questions.
right. And that's the thing. Like, I just, because prior to this, right, we don't get the feel. She's been defending Rhaenyra this whole time, wanting to be friends with her again this whole time. And you don't get the sense that she's worried about her children taking the throne or solidifying her place as queen. So my thing was like, why is this bothering you so much? That's the thing I couldn't understand or wrap my mind around. Why does this bother you so much to the point that you're gonna do what we're gonna talk about in a few minutes? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is it weighing so heavily on you? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that bothers me. Like, I can understand that you might be bothered that uncle and niece are getting together. I get it. But even you know that, hey, they're Targaryens. They do that sometimes.
Right.
So, and if it's not Daemon, if she out here just smashing something, why are you that concerned? Why are you so mad? Like, that's the part that bothered me is why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Right. It's like, and in the last episode, it came off as like, I'm worried for you. I want to make sure that you're able to find the right match. If you lose your virginity, you're toast. Like, no one will touch you. But in this episode, it's not that at all. It's like, she lied to me after I like went to bat for her. And I guess there's a piece of that can feel like betrayal. But at the same time, you also could have just left it alone. No one told you to go to bat for Rhaenyra.
Or I guess, okay, now that you just said that too, the betrayal part, because maybe she's looking at it as like
She put herself out there.
Rhaenyra's mess is what caused her dad to be kicked out of King's Landing and lose his job. And I think maybe that's the part that's like pissing her off the most, where it's like, if you had just kept your legs closed and stay in your room that night, my dad would still be here. He'd still have his job. You know, he wouldn't have been kicked out of King's Landing. I think,
or more so that her dad was right.
That too.
And he got fired.
That too, yeah. That he was actually telling the truth about something.
I mean, he always tells the truth. He's just sneaky as hell.
Justice for Otto.
No justice for Otto.
He was wrongly terminated.
On a technicality, he deserved to go.
Somebody call HR.
He deserved to go. And then finally with this bit, Viserys, he is not looking well. And he clearly is thinking about who he is as a king and what his legacy says about him.
And he's
kind of just like, you said Alice. Oh, where's the queen?
Don't give a damn.
Here.
That dude fell in the courtyard. She looked down. She said, tough titties, and kept going. I was like, yo. When before she was over there tending to his nasty little wounds, she was like, must be tough. But yeah, go ahead. He's now thinking about his legacy.
I just wanted to call it out as something that that was pretty obvious throughout the episode, that he's deteriorating. Everyone close to him and around him can see that, and he sees it too. He's just not acknowledging it. He's ignoring it.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Lionel. Lionel said when what's his name? When Viserys was like, man, maybe if I was forged in the crucible, I could have been a great king. And Lionel was like, listen, I think being a king of peace is great. Like, and Lionel shines time and time again, because he's that friend that's going to give you that sage wisdom, but is also not going to BS you. Like, they going to keep it funky with you, but you know, they going to try and put you on the right path. Like, so I appreciate that about him. He does not lie to the king. No, he does not push no type of agenda. He gives it to him straight up. He's like, listen, you should have married the Valyrian girl. I told you that.
So here's the thing also that I think is interesting about Lionel, is that he is the one so far that is the clear choice for protecting the king's interests. Like, he puts the king's interests above his own. So we've seen so far. But I think it's also pretty obvious that because we've seen how he's advised the king, and we see his son, he has it in him to play the Game of Thrones. He's just choosing to not either do it right now or make it obvious.
That's true. And we got to see Viserys's like wounds and festering arm in full display. And it was just like,
I didn't look.
Oh, you didn't? Girl.
My TV is really dark, so I just like,
Bruh, they took the glove off. And they were working on that arm. His whole arm is rotting. He's missing a hand. And
a whole hand?
Yes, his whole hand fell off.
Oh, see, I'm missing stuff, guys.
Like, his whole hand fell off. And like, his whole arm is rotting. It looked like it smelled nasty. You know when you see those wounds that look like they smell?
He probably has gangrene. That's
looked
spreading.
disgusting.
Oh,
I
that's
can't even
sad.
miss that part. Yeah, it was
I missed
bad.
it. I did. So when Renice went in to grab his hand, she didn't feel no hand. I thought she just wasn't feeling fingers.
I think it was messed up.
I
Jacked
gotta go
up.
back now.
I
Okay.
think it's nasty. I think it's jacked up.
Maybe I'll look for an image on Google or something instead of sitting through it all again.
Yeah. All
Anyways,
right. What's next?
and now a wedding. We love
Dun,
weddings, by the
dun,
way.
dun, dun,
It's,
dun, 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 dun,
that's
dun.
not the music they was playing at that wedding. We'll get to that in a second. So we love weddings here at Casual Fangirls, especially weddings in Westeros. At the
Mm.
welcome feast, all the noble families are announced and give their well wishes to the king and princess. Jason Lannister stops by. Sir Gerald Royce pays his respects. The Valerians have a grand entrance, rolling deep, and it's quite the show. Very much Coming to America vibes. We'll get to that. But it's not a wedding if the whole family isn't there. So right on cue, Uncle Damon shows up to join the festivities, and Viserys lets him stay, which is wild to me.
Uncle
Again,
Dae-Dae, wedding crasher.
Uncle Dae-Dae, the wedding crasher. In the middle of Viserys' welcome speech, we're going to join our two houses. There's going to be dragon riders, yada, yada, yada. Alicent shows up, completely interrupting his speech. Takes her sweet time walking down to sit at the table. All eyes on her. She is making a statement. After that, we see some Westerosi-style wedding dancing. Lord Royce accuses Daemon of murder. Rhaenyra calls Daemon's bluff about wanting her. Then a gruesome fight between Sir Criston and Laenor's beau breaks out, where Sir Criston winds up killing Laenor's beau. After that, Alicent stops Sir Criston from killing himself. Finally, we cut to Rhaenyra and Laenor's shotgun wedding that very same night, where Viserys faints. Whew. Okay.
Yes, a lot to
Where do we
digest.
where do we start?
I think I think we
Go
need to
ahead.
start with the entrances for sure.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Did you enjoy the entrances that we got?
She's your queen to be. That was in my head when the Valyrians came in. I just expected them to break out and dance. I swear.
Did you?
I loved it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know what it made me? What it made me think of was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire when the different schools come in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know why, but it's just like watching everybody come in a group like that.
Yeah.
It just made me feel like that. But watching the
Great
Valerians
Hall.
come in, watching the Valerians come in was a sight to behold because they looked strong, they looked bold. It was a bunch of black people in there. I was like, yes.
With
Here
a
we
bunch
go.
of messed up wigs.
Oh. Yo, Laenor's wig
I don't
makes
mind it.
me itch. It makes me it's ooh. Oh my god. Corliss's wig got better. I don't know who worked on Corliss's wig, or maybe it was just because he went to go fight in the Stepstones and it got longer. It looks better. But Laenor, when I'm watching him, and especially when they zoom into his face, I'm like, why? And then Lenora?
Is her name
What's her
Lenora
name?
or Lena?
Lena? Sorry, Lena.
You know black people. They got the names. That's what that is.
Lele.
Lele.
Baby girl Lele. I'm mad that they keep doing her hair like that. I'm like, y'all know there's too much hair for this person's head. It's stupid.
That's the problem with Lenor's locks too. It's too full for his head. His head is tiny.
Full. Somebody come tweeze this. I don't understand. Like, it bothers me so much. And like, I know Lele is probably the actress is probably just happy to be there. But I feel like also nobody turns around and be like, y'all know this look crazy. This is the final look.
I didn't mind her wig so much because I see people walk around like that.
That doesn't make it okay.
It doesn't make it okay, but it's like I'm used to it. But Laenor's lock wig, like that had to go. Like that's not normal.
So mad. Okay, I'm sorry. That was
no, it's okay.
Go
okay.
ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, they came down, they looked strong, they did everything they were supposed to do. My betrothed, the nods, the curtsies. It was fantastic. It was lovely seeing them. Mm-hmm. That is like what a strong house and a strong family looks like, basically.
And then Uncle Dae strolls through. And I'm just like, who gave you an invite? Nobody. and then and then Viserys is just like, yeah, pull up a chair for him. Whatever. Viserys is like, I don't have the energy. I don't have
basically he's like, I'm not doing this with you right now.
Yeah. And I was just like, Viserys, this don't look good, bro.
It don't, because Daemon stay calling his bluff.
He looked like a chump every time. Every time.
I mean, no one knows that he banished him. So he,
I feel like they do.
Why would they know? Why would they know?
Why would they not know? I don't know.
Because they would have to know the reason.
I feel like there's enough talk. I don't know. I feel like there's enough talk that somebody would have been like, oh yeah, Viserys sent Daemon back to the Vale. At least. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know.
I mean, something
I could
like
be
that.
wrong,
but he did that before, and he came back, and so it's like. But last time it felt like he was like, I never want to see you in King's Landing again. Like that's exile.
Yeah.
I don't think that level was communicated to the realm at all. So
maybe not.
Viserys didn't really have to save any face, because I don't think anyone really knew that he wasn't supposed to be there, except for the fact that he didn't set a place for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then what's his name? Gerald Royce just pulls up to the table and is like, I know you killed my cousin. And I'm like,
he was like, I'm making an accusation. I was like, oh.
Yes. When he
in front of the king, who said nothing.
Within earshot of everybody.
Didn't say nothing.
Like, so we just gonna pretend this not happening? And then
it's like, how do you do that with no proof?
And then Daemon's just like, aren't I going to be your landlord now? Didn't I inherit Runestone?
Yeah.
And send me the paperwork.
How come Gerald didn't think about that before he rolled up to him? Like, is no one thinking 2 steps ahead here?
I don't know.
Because the look on his face was like, oh, snap, I messed up. Yes, you did. And you didn't have to. All you did was think about it.
That was wild. That was a wild moment. I love Daemon.
Is set to inherit Runestone. Like, Daemon is great because you can tell that so much of what he does is just on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, oh, is that Lele over there? If the match is good enough for Nira, then it's good enough for me too, right? Let me go in there and go talk to her, basically.
He over there trying to finesse his way.
Talk her up. But also by being slick with it. You're almost as pretty as your brother.
Cracking me up, bro.
He's so funny.
He's so funny. Like, he's such a jerk, but he makes for such great TV. He's an amazing character, and I love it. I'm
like
so
the
happy.
Matt Smith is playing him too. He's playing.
Yes,
him so well.
Matt Smith walks that line of just that gray moral area, that ambiguity, everything. I love the way he's playing Daemon right now, and it's just like, you want to hate him, but you love to hate him, and that's the best part.
You do. Never since Jaime, you know.
However, I don't foresee a redemption arc coming our way, but yeah, man, it's tough stuff.
You know, I wouldn't be so quick, because, and let's get off topic for a quick second. If we are assuming, so for everyone listening and watching, Nessa and I we have not read the book that is like the support for this show. So we don't actually know or really remember how this all plays out. Well, I have a general idea of how this plays out, but I don't remember the specifics, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm thinking Dance of Dragons, the way they're setting it up, they've been setting it up as if it might be Daemon versus Rhaenyra, but I'm almost positive it's going to be Rhaenyra versus Aegon, right? Like, heir to the throne. And if that's the case, then Daemon would have to back one of them. And if I'm putting my money on it, Daemon's going to back Rhaenyra.
Possibly.
If that's how it shakes out.
Yeah, I really don't remember how it plays out.
Right.
At all. But I'm happy that I don't remember. And I'm so tempted to like run up and look up everything to be like, wait, but how did this, I don't know. But like, I'm trying to restrain myself so that I can just kind of go with the flow of the show.
Right.
But I mean, I guess we'll see. How did
We
you
will
enjoy
see.
how'd you like the festivities of the wedding and everything that went on?
We got to see them dancing, and I thought that was dope. Like, it
I feel
felt
like we've
like
never really seen it like that.
we've never seen them do like a ritualistic style like dance or a ritual like that. And it was very like almost tribal. And I just love, I mean, it's the drums, right? You know, Black people love drums. So I was like in it. And of course, I was sitting there and I was like, this sounds like the beginning of Usher's song, Good Kisser. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same drum beat. I promise you.
I
Yes.
gotta go back and watch it again.
It's the same drum beat. So that was the first thing I was like, why are they playing Usher? And then I see
this ain't Bridgerton.
This ain't Bridgerton, that's right. And then I see Rhaenyra and Laenor dancing with each other, and I was like, y'all doing the same dance as the dragons from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's
Do you
funny.
remember?
I do remember that. That's funny.
Nessa, tell me they weren't doing the exact same dance.
I can't. It was not, but I love that. I love that reference. That's actually really, really.
It was doing all the.
When they started, I was just in the background. I was like, "Girl, you look good." What's your ass look like? That's the song that was just playing in my mind. I was like, if they were in modern times, what would they be dancing to right now?
So for the people at home, Nessa is convinced that one of her wedding songs will be "Back That Thing Up" by.
Why do you say convinced like it's not going to happen? Like,
I mean,
there will be a string quartet playing
right. It'll be the string quartet playing it. So it will happen. It just won't happen with the 99 and 2000 lyrics like playing directly. So that's why when Rhaenyra and Laenor started dancing, she was singing that.
I'm just saying, I think it would have fit. I think it would have been beautiful. It's a trap love song, you know. I love it.
I mean, he's not singing that to her, so
yeah.
I don't know why they would be dancing to it. That's not their song. Their song is just like friends forever. Anyways, so Daemon comes at Lena, and she's into it. I mean, why wouldn't she be? Why wouldn't she be? Like, there's no reason for her not to be.
He's a charming man. He's
charming. He's single now. He doesn't have a wife. He's a Targaryen. He's super accomplished. He's got a dragon of the Narrow Sea. He has a dragon.
Just inherited runestone.
He has all the things. He's a little crazy, but as long as you like, he'll keep himself occupied. It's not a big deal. So that was one thing. And then after Daemon comes at Lena, he comes at Rhaenyra. And Rhaenyra calls his bluff.
Every time. She does it every time. Every time. And he fails every time. When he stole the dragon egg, she said, all right, you want to be king? Kill me right here, right now. Let's do it. Nah, toss the egg back. Are you trying to smash me too? Nah, I can't do this. We should get married. Okay. Cut through the king's guard. Do what you gotta do. What's up? Nothing. So it's just like, I love that she is not afraid to call his bluff every time. And every time she does, he just falls all the way back. He falls all the way back. And I love seeing that she has this like power over him. She
has the blood of the dragon, like Viserys said. Like, she has the blood of the dragon, just like she has that like Daemon is you said it great. Daemon is an agent of chaos, right? He's just like, screw it. Let's see what happens if we do this. Like, this will benefit me. Let's just do it. Rhaenyra has a little bit of that in her too.
Yeah.
Except it's way more self-serving and slightly more deliberated. But it's very much just like, screw it. You feeling froggy? Let's jump.
And he never jumps, bro.
He never jumps, unfortunately.
Never jumps.
Well, I guess in this case, we never find out if he was even going to jump because a fight breaks out. Watching that scene, I was like, what is happening? Did he kiss her and somebody see? Like, I was so many confusion. So much confusion. And then when I actually figured out what was happening, I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
So
I guess we got to run it back a little bit that Joffrey approaches Sir Kristen and is like, hey, I know what you be doing with the queen, but you know, I be with the king consort. So we could be cool and keep each other's secrets. And Kristen is like, bro, I'm on duty. What are you doing? You
Right.
know?
Right.
And so I think a lot of that builds up and we never see exactly what's the moment that erupts this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing, but
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way, it's them who are fighting. And tell our folks what happens. Oh my
So
god.
and because like when we last see Christian and Joffrey Lonmouth, who they said that he's a good kisser or something like that, right? Like he's the knight of kisses or something like that.
Yeah,
Which is why I think the drums were playing Usher's song "Good Kisser." Like
I
this is a
can't stand
conspiracy
you.
theory I have. Anyways, I think that that's a thing. But anyways, when we last see them together, Joffrey walks away, and Christian is kind of just like looking off, like he's confused, like. Well, he's not confused. Like, if you from New York, you know that face was just like, what he just say to me? Like that was the face that he made.
Yeah,
So you can kind of tell he was thinking about getting froggy, but you don't see that. You don't see the direct jumping off point to them starting to fight. And quite honestly, the way that the showrunners described it after the show was just that he snapped,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
I'm really curious as to what would make him snap to the point where he would want to beat this dude down. Like, what did he say?
He didn't just beat him down. What did he do? He killed him
He
in the
beat his
middle
face in
of a feast,
of
the
a wedding
engagement party. Though,
in front
like,
of the king and
yeah,
everybody. He
everybody.
whooped this boy's butt. It gave me strong like cap and cap U.S. agent when he killed the dude with the
The
shield. It
shield.
gave me it was very similar. Just like, yo, people are watching. What are you doing?
Yeah.
People can
So,
see you. I can see you. I can see what you're doing.
so a little bit of background information. I actually listened to an interview with the actor. I think his name is Fabian, who plays
He looks like a Fabian.
who plays Kristen.
He looks like a Fabian.
He mentions that they had actually filmed a scene of when he takes his vows to be Kingsguard, but it never made the show. And he described it as like, you know, being Kingsguard is super important for him. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any titles. So becoming Kingsguard is all that he has. And he also mentioned that, like, in talking to the showrunners and stuff, they wanted Kristen to be basically like a thug of the times, but he's just hiding his thuggishness. And I don't know if there's other scenes that hit the cutting room floor, so we don't really. Because when he said it, I was like, "Thug where?"
Ain't nothing thuggish about him. And
Even
we
if
know thugs. They ain't nothing.
And even if you're talking about thugs of that time or what it means to be a thug in that world, it still was like, I don't see it. I don't get it. And I think this is where we're seeing that, like, he has that in him, right? He has that viciousness in him. And you got to think, like, being Kingsguard was the highlight of his life.
Yeah, he soiled it
himself by messing with the queen. Then when he tries to redeem it and is like, let's get married and let's run away, she's like, no. So now he has to stay here with this secret, which clearly is not so secret that somebody he's never met, does not know, can walk up to him and be like, I know it's you, right? And it's just like, I think all of that together, all that pressure, all that everything, and knowing that Allison knows, sends him over the edge. It just sends him over the edge.
Yeah, to the point where, like, what do you do after that? After you kill someone, you kill a knight you kill your future king consort's, like, best friend / knight. There's no, like, you die after that, right? Like,
Yeah.
There's no other option unless he lies and say that, like, you know, Sir Joffrey was, like, saying something poorly about the queen. He could probably lie and make something up and, you know, make it, like, barely justified. But, like, Christian is so over it that he just goes to, like, kill himself.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's about to stab himself in the belly, which I honestly felt like there are quicker ways to go. Like, why would you do it that way? Split your throat.
It was very samurai.
Yeah, because it wasn't even a whole sword. He was using a dagger. It's like, that's not going to kill you right away.
He was not thinking.
It's
Maybe
really
he
not
wanted
that
to
great.
suffer. Who knows? He might have
Yeah.
wanted to suffer.
No, he could have slit his throat. It would have been way quicker. But Allison, I guess, went
Hmm.
looking for him and finds him and like calls him and pauses him in his tracks. I mean, we don't know if he goes through with it or what happens with him because that's the last time we see him. But Christian is just, I feel bad for him, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel really sad for him and like how all this has kind of turned out, especially because I highly doubt this will like affect Rhaenyra in any real way.
Mm. I mean, listen. I it did not surprise me that he did try to take his own life, and Allison comes and stops him, because even when he goes to Allison and is like, "Hey, I did this," she basically pardons him. She's like, "All right, cool," you know. But I think she's going to use that to bring him over to her side and create an ally within him.
I definitely on my rewatch, I definitely thought that when we do the time jump in the next episode, which we'll get to in a second, I'd be shocked if Christian isn't her specific Kingsguard now.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. I think
Mm-hmm.
that would be the smart play and the smart move to make on both of
Right.
their parts.
Yeah. Get him away from
Um,
Rhaenyra and have someone that Alicent feels like she can confide in because he's been honest with her and she did him this favor by not killing him, basically. So,
yeah. Last thing I wanted to really say quickly about the wedding too was that Allison's grand entrance,
mm,
wearing that high tower green,
mm,
not that Targaryen red or black, but the high tower green. And then even when she walks into her uncle, and her uncle's like, "Man, I thought with your dad being gone, you was just going like wither and fall to the wayside. But I'm glad to see you standing tall. We stand with you." I
mm.
think is just such a strong statement, right? Her coming in late, interrupting Hightower Green, and Unc is like, "I got you." We are setting up some power plays over here on her, and you can see she's distancing herself from the Targaryens, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm my own person. I'm embracing it. I recognize the game that everybody is playing now, and now I'm a player in it too.
Mm.
Any thoughts?
Um,
Any final thoughts that you had about Allison and her?
I mean, I'm glad it came to her
Big
quicker than it came to Sansa.
Yeah,
It took
yeah,
Sansa seasons to get here. I mean, I guess we jumped in time a bit, so
we
maybe about
did.
the same.
Yeah.
But I'm glad she finally came to her senses and she's like not waiting around. Like to see someone actively enter the game is exciting. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like to not see someone be used as a pawn or to see someone who's been in the game for a while, that is
Mm-hmm.
exciting. I'm excited to see how that plays out when we do our time jump and we have new actors and everything in the next episode. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, but before we get there, real quick, before we get to what's going to happen in the next episode and like how we're feeling about it, Nessa and I wanted to do a quick round of like, would you rather? And the question is, which wedding would you rather attend as a guest? So, thinking about all the weddings that we've seen in Game of Thrones TV shows, Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, we'll give you a quick list. The question is, which one would you want to be a guest at? And we're not talking like one of the main guests or like a family member, just like, you know, you are the sister of like someone's mama's best friend's cousins twice removed, and you just happen to get an invite to the wedding. Which one would you want to be at? So
Yes.
the ones we have listed here are the purple wedding, which was Joffrey and Marjorie, the red wedding, which was Edmure Tully and Rosalind Frey. We have Tyrion and Sansa got married on screen. Ramsay and Sansa got married on screen. Dany and Drogo got married on screen. We saw Lyanna and Rhaegar get married. Spoiler. We saw Rob and Talisa get married. We saw Tommen and Marjorie get married, and then we didn't see the full like vow exchange for Lysa and Littlefinger, but we saw the before and after, so I'm counting it. So yeah, the question is, which wedding would you want to attend as a guest? I know my answer off the bat.
For me, it would have to be Purple Wedding, but also this wedding too. I'm not gonna, all right, so Purple Wedding because Because it is the king's wedding, I know it's going to be magnificent. The food is going to be amazing. The entertainment is going to be great. The tourneys are going to be awesome. There's going to be plenty of eligible bachelors. I'm here for it. All the money is coming.
You at the singles table.
I'm at the singles table. So I'm here for it. And it's the same things for Rhaenyra and Laenor's wedding as well. But Joffrey and Marjorie, I would want to be there because to see Joffrey, to see that little
the
die,
spectacle.
I'm here for it. I would have been sitting there trying to hold back my smile, like, oh no, oh no. I would be here for it. And then for this wedding that we saw in this episode, I'm here for the gossipy nature of it all. Like, ooh. Is that Allison? She wearing green? Y'all, she wearing green. Y'all see
Daemon showed up in all black? Is it supposed to be morning? You know they say he killed his wife, right?
No,
they didn't even set a place for him. They wasn't expecting him. He just showed up.
Why are you touching Rhaenyra's face like that?
They getting real close in the face.
Y'all real look close. Very familiar.
Did y'all see Laenor get real close up to that little redhead boy? Because they like bumped like chins. You saw that, right?
You saw it. It looked a little too fresh. I'm here just to talk mad mess in the background. That's what I'm here for.
If me and you were at that wedding, we would have turned. No, not for nothing. Let there be a freaking 360 photo booth. We would have been in there doing those dragon dances. Like,
I can't. Which wedding are you attending?
Oh, absolutely the same one. There's no question. I'm going to the purple wedding, and I want to sit in the back, but I want a clear view of the pigeon pie. Like, I want to see it like great.
It's kind of dry.
I want to see it straight. I unfortunately would also have to watch him humiliate Tyrion, which, who knows how I would feel about that if I lived in this world. But absolutely the purple wedding. I don't want to go near the red wedding. All the other ones seem kind of boring.
Absolutely.
Dany and Drogo, if there was a way for me to watch that without like being in the crowd, then I would do it.
Yeah, because for them, it's like you could be a spectator and still get killed. And I'm not here for that.
Exactly. No,
I'm not here for that.
At all. Probably the nicest wedding was probably Tommen and Marjorie, just like grand king wedding, but like went off without a hitch and like probably just very nice. But absolutely purple wedding and this wedding.
Yeah.
This wedding more so though, I think would be like
we messy. We want to see it all.
Oh my goodness. I want the gossip. There's just so much good. Ooh, did you see Royce go up to Daemon just now? I saw his lips say, "I'm accusing you."
Not reading lips across the whole room.
Listen. Is that not what Viserys was trying to do with Daemon and Rhaenyra? He was breaking his neck trying to see.
You're right. It took people a long time to break up that fight too.
It went on for a while, yeah. They didn't even. No one. What do you mean break it up? They didn't break it up. They let him kill him.
Getting Rhaenyra out of there, I guess, is getting Rhaenyra out of there. Having anybody just get in there, like break bones. It finally, like Lionel was finally like, "All right, son, go ahead and get in there and get her out. Like, shouldn't that be our first priority?
Yeah, it should be.
I feel like we paused a little too long on that one, but
you caught how Kristen punched Laenor, right? Like knocked him out.
Oh yeah. Everybody was catching it out there.
She was running as safe as boo. That's so sad. And then he got married same night. And you know how I know it was the same night? Because they showed the eating chicken that the king was like tearing up. He was tearing up that chicken boy.
First of all, Laenor was still crying. Mm-hmm. There was still blood on the floor. Nobody even wiped up the blood before they even did anything. So yeah, it was absolutely, they cleared the hall and just had the ceremony there. They was like, listen, there's too much going on right now. I'm dying. Viserys is like, I'm probably dying. Let's just get this done and keep it moving. Because there's a lot going on. So I think they made the right move locking it in at that moment. I mean, it's insensitive. It's
that poor boy.
Messed up. It's messed up, but I think it was definitely the right move to make for sure, 100%.
Who was the MVP of the episode? Who won?
Alicent. I think it was Alicent. I think Alicent, she finally realized what her status is and what her potential power is. She made the move. Well, she made a move that made her uncle be like, I got you, right? And I think it's just all setting up for her to be a force to be reckoned with. So to me, I think she won because she's finally wizened up and she learned Rhaenyra's secret. So when you got that in your back pocket, you know, who would you think the MVP was?
I thought it was Rhaenyra because she didn't lose anything this episode. Besides, but now that you say it, besides Alicent finding out her secret, she gets to marry the dude that is going to be fine to her most likely. She theoretically doesn't lose out on anything for the most part. I mean, like her side piece probably doesn't want to sleep with her anymore, but like, is that a real loss? I don't know. There'll be other.
She can find someone else.
She can find someone else. So like, I thought she won, but I think you might be right. Alicent might be the slightly better contender for MVP for this episode. I think I'm with it. Alicent makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's start wrapping this up. So looking forward, we see a trailer for next week's episode, and we have another time jump. It's 10 years later, and we see the council chatting about the stepstones. Aegon is a little man now with long, ugly blonde hair. Looks like there are plenty of children running around. Everybody got little kids. There's still a rumor being talked about. Viserys mentions a rumor. And we see that there are more little dragon riders being raised up. Little kids being like Dracarys, which is kind of dope. But most shockingly of all, Viserys is still alive 10 years later.
He is still alive.
That is wild to me.
Wild. I did not see that coming. I was just like, he ain't died.
I know, right?
The leeches work. He didn't need the herbs. He did not need the herbs. The leeches actually did the job.
So some other things we see is that it looks like Daemon and Lele got together. Why are we calling her Lele?
It does.
Daemon and Lele got together. There was something like there was a voiceover that says something about a son, and then they cut to a younger dude that wasn't Kristen, right? But looked like Kristen.
It looked like what's the man name? It looked like Harwin Strong. I just said his nickname. In the Breakbones.
In the what's that thing called? You put armor?
In the what?
There was a younger looking dude in armor, and I couldn't tell if that was Kristen or a boy that's supposed to look like Kristen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure then. What are you talking about? But I feel like I saw what's his name? Breakbones in there, and I was just like, why are we seeing him? But then it was also kind of like mashed up of when we're seeing babies being born with black hair. And I was just like,
that's what made me think about Kristen.
I was like, oh. And I think Alicent says it's one thing to have one kid like this, but to have three? Or something like that. I was just like, yikes. Okay, so somebody's here mixing up the blood. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what it is, all that we're getting cuts of, and what's happening here, who has how many children, what is going on. It seems very clear that Alicent and Rhaenyra never make up. So, you know, this whole thing, I'm guessing, is the rift that just decimates their friendship altogether.
I'm also excited to see what happens with Rhaenyra and Daemon. Like, they married siblings.
That they did.
Are they having their way with each other on the side?
That would be the smart move.
That would be the fairly smart move. Yes.
Because even if she has a kid, like, at least the kid will look like it fits in, so nobody's gonna really question it. Like,
but we'll see. We will see. I'm excited for it. We're halfway through the season now, and next episode we're going to get change of characters because it's 10 years later. I'm a little sad to see some of the actors and actresses go that we've become accustomed to. Like, we just got Lenore, and like now he's gone.
I know.
um, which is sad for me. But yeah, excited for the rest of the season. I have no idea where we're going to end with this. And I'm just excited to be along for the ride. I cannot tell you how good it feels to like be back in the world of Game of Thrones. And not, I know we said that in like other episodes, but just like we are
We gotta
halfway
say it
through the
every
season.
time.
We do. Because we're halfway through the season and the season is good. Like
Yes.
to me, it's good.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, guys, thank you for joining us. We are having such a great time covering House of the Dragon. We're also covering Rings of Power and other things. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Follow us on our socials at Casual Fangirls _. Check us out on YouTube, Casual Fangirls. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. We're so happy to be sharing our thoughts with you. So we want you guys to share your thoughts with us. What are your theories? Don't be spoiling stuff for us either, because we know we're supposed to know how the story ends, but we pushed it out of our brains, I'd like to think. And so we want to rock with this. But if you don't know how it ends and you have theories, or if you just want to express your thoughts to us, come on, guys, share with us. And we will see you guys soon. I am Nessa.
And I'm T.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls.